extremely disappointed with the result. I feel for my players. They did a better job down the stretch. They move on, and we deal with the disappointment.
They said it was an award for seniority, seriousness, and collective work. That's how the Dallas Mavericks' victory in the NBA Final, 4-2, sums up. 5 years after losing the ring to the same rival, the Texas team took revenge and snatched glory from the Miami Heat, a failed project that in the sixth game of the final series, 105-95, showed all the defects of teams built with an evident imbalance due to the excessive weight of 2 or 3 players. A sporting event that marked the birth of an era for a great team. Want to know more about what happened and why the Dallas Mavericks really won their first championship? Then make sure to stay until the end, as the answer will shock you. Before we start, make sure to subscribe down below and hit the bell icon to get notified when we post our videos. There was no lack of adjectives to describe the first ring won by the Nowitzki Mavs. Historic was one of the best ones, since Dallas had managed to avenge the ring lost in 2006 precisely to the Heat and has buried the ghosts of the past forever. A sensational Dirk Nowitzki, MVP, with 21 points and 11 rebounds, led the win, 95-105, in Miami to put the final 4-2 and sink the Heat of Wade, LeBron, and Bosh. The Mavericks' victory was again led by German power forward Dirk Nowitzki, shooting guard Jason Terry, point guard Jose Juan Barea, a winning formula used by Dallas coach Rick Carlisle starting in Game 4 when they were 2-1 down in the series. Terry was once again the sixth perfect player, motivating his team and relaunching it on offense. And his 27 points, including 3 7-run triples, completely broke the Heat's defense in the closing stretch of the fourth quarter. We've shown that we're a team that thrives on adversity, and there are no stars among us, but teammates who fight from start to finish on the court. This is the victory that this franchise and all the players who have had a great season deserve, said Terry. Along with them, Puerto Rican point guard Jose Juan Barea was the secret weapon Carlisle brought out in the Game 4 to start him off and break the Heat's defensive pattern with his speed. He contributed 15 key points for the Mavericks in the 30 minutes he played. He scored 7 out of 12 field shots, including a 3-point shot in 3 attempts, gave up 5 assists, captured 3 rebounds, and recovered 2 balls. Forward Shawn Marion, with 12 points and 8 rebounds, was the 4th best scorer for the Mavericks, who as a team had a 50% success rate in the field and 42, 11-26 in 3-pointers, compared to 47, 34, and 7-23, respectively, for the Heat. Control of the ball and the contribution of the reserves were also factors that fell on the side of the Mavericks, who took revenge for the defeat that they suffered in the 2006 NBA Finals when they lost 4-2 to the Heat, the first title the Miami team won. This time, the Heat, who were favorites with their 3 stars, forward LeBron James, shooting guard Dwayne Wade, and power forward Chris Bosh, were left lackluster. After getting a win in the first game, in the second one with 15 points and 6.5 minutes to play, they let it go, and from that moment on, everything changed in favor of the Mavericks. It was the 2006-07 season, and after a sluggish start, 0-4, the Mavericks came back and scored a historic 52-5 in the next 57 games. They finished the season with a 67-15 record, first in the league and 6th best in NBA history. Nowitzki had a dominant season, winning the 37th season MVP award, first European to do so and the only one so far, and leading the Mavericks to the best regular season in their history. He averaged 24.6 points, 8.9 rebounds, and 3.4 assists in the 36.2 minutes per night. Along with Josh Howard, the German played once again in the All-Star game. However, the euphoria quickly ended for the Texans. In playoffs, they met Golden State Warriors, 8th in the West, a team that had won all 3 games in the regular season. The Warriors surprised them by winning the first game, although in the second game, they tied the series in a match in which both Baron Davis and Stephen Jackson were sent off. The explosive Warriors dismantled their opponents in the next 2 games, summed up in victory, and turned Nowitzki, newly appointed MVP, into a weak and easy prey. A 118-112 victory for the Mavericks was followed by a 4-2 victory for the Californians, who eliminated Dallas and advanced to the conference semifinals. Golden State became the first team to eliminate the conference champion by qualifying in the 8th round since the best of 7 matches in the first round. In the 2007-08 season, the Mavs were able to bolster their squad, taking on veteran point guard Jason Kidd from the New Jersey Nets, along with Malik Allen and Antoine Wright, in exchange for Devin Harris, Desagana Diop, Trenton Hassel, Mo Agar, and Keith Van Horn, and 2 future draft rounds. And they ended the season with a 51-31 record, achieving their 8th consecutive campaign with over 50 wins. After the playoff fiasco, they met the New Orleans Hornets of point guard Chris Paul, who finished second in the Western Conference in the regular season. The Hornets gave the Mavericks no option, eliminating them 4-1 in the first round, which resulted in the urgent dismissal of Avery Johnson, former NBA Coach of the Year in 2006, as the team's coach on April 30th, 2008, while drastic changes were announced for the following season. In the 2010-11 season, they finished 3rd in the West with an overall record of 57-25. In the first round, they beat the Portland Trail Blazers 4-2, and then in the conference semifinals, they swept the then 2-time champs Los Angeles Lakers 4-0, making it to the conference finals where they defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder in 5 games 4-1. And so, even with the odds stacked against them, they made it to another NBA final, and with extra motivation to face the team that won it in 2006. However, for these finals, the Miami Heat started as the favorite with their so-called Big Three: LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. The first game was won by the Heat with a 92-84, and a great performance from their stars, especially Wade. But for the second game, Dirk Nowitzki would show his face, and with the help of his teammates, especially Jason Terry and Shawn Marion, tied the series with a score of 95-93. Then the series moved to Dallas, but the Heat again took the lead in the third game by a score of 88-86. With the series against 2-1, Dallas knew they had to win at any cost, and so they did it in the fourth game, and the series was tied 2-2. The final and fifth game in Dallas was decisive for both sides' title aspirations. Miami showed many doubts, and with LeBron James giving one of the worst games of his career, Dallas with 29 points from Nowitzki, taking a 3-2 lead in the series, to a game of the dreamed first title that had been denied to him for years. For Game 6, with an outstanding performance by Jason Terry with 27 points, a Jose Juan Barea comeback added to the offensive and defensive contribution of Jason Kidd, Shawn Marion, and Deshaun Stevenson made the poor first 3 quarters performance of Nowitzki's game unnoticeable, which for the last quarter contributed points, and added to Miami's ball losses, and defensive and offensive facilities made Dallas the first NBA champion in its history with a score of 105-95. It was a triumph for the veteran Dirk Nowitzki, about to turn 33 years old and 13 seasons in the NBA, Jason Kidd, 38 years old and 16 as a professional, and Jason Terry, 33 years old and 11 seasons in the best league in the world. The planning of a joint and supportive team in which all the players count and also assume their responsibility was successful, and humility triumphed over the divism of some sportsmen who even dare to make fun of their opponents.
Oh, did y'all hear me cough? I think I'm sick.
LeBron James and Dwayne Wade did so, joking about the illness Nowitzki suffered in the fourth game of the final. They're the first ones who should have kept quiet, and now they have to be held accountable. The final brought out all the virtues of the Mavs. All the players called up scored, 9, and the substitutes scored 43 points, almost half of the team. They never lost faith in victory and worked towards the common goal. The best example of that confidence is Nowitzki. The German was able to recover from a dismal first half in which he scored only 3 points due to a pitiful shooting percentage. Despite missing 6 3-pointers and 18 2-pointers, Nowitzki never gave up. On the contrary, he persisted in the attempt and redirected the situation in the last 2 quarters until he became the determining man he usually is. He scored 10 points in the last quarter. The antithesis of Nowitzki was LeBron James. The Heat's 6, considered one of the top 3 players in the NBA, twice voted Best Player, MVP, of the regular season, offered an undignified image as a result of his monumental mental collapse. After a lightning start in the first minutes of the game that made him believe in his resurgence after 2 grueling games, the former Cleveland player deserted the fight, erased himself like snow on a summer day, and gave the victory to the Mavs. It is a source of shame and outrage to see the so-called king take the ball away like a hot potato. He did it several times, being in a shooting situation, without players to defend him, and when his team needed him the most. Of the Dallas Mavericks who lost the final 5 years ago, only 2 players remained, Nowitzki and Terry. Both were the best in the series against Miami, as if the motivation was even greater for them. The German had averaged 27 points per game, which was the same as Terry's score in the 6th game, The skillful 33-year-old shooting guard, voted the best sixth man of the 2008-09 season, has once again been the ace in his team's sleeve, Dallas's secret weapon. His speed in setting up the shot and excellent marksmanship from any position shattered Miami in the first 2 quarters. He was the architect of the amazing comeback at the end of the first quarter and the beginning of the second, when Dallas moved into a 12-point lead, 40-28, after a devastating 19-8 split. Terry led the Mavs as Nowitzki crashed through the rim again and again. In the final minutes, the German had overcome his temporary mental block and went straight into the ring. Dirk Nowitzki was awarded the Bill Russell Award for the NBA Finals MVP, the first player in the franchise to do so and the first German to do so. It is also worth noting that Dallas has won 50 or more regular season games in 11 consecutive seasons. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to check out some of these videos that appear on the screen, and don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe down below.